Uncle Bob. I call him Uncle Bob because he's like a rich uncle, always full of these million-dollar ideas. I said, I'll think about it and call you tomorrow, okay? He said, no, Steve, I want you to tell me now. And knowing Uncle Bob, I knew he wasn't going to let me off the hook. So I said, okay, I think $100,000 is a lot of money. He said, have you ever made $100,000 in a year? And I said, yes. He said, have you ever made that much in a month? And I said, well, the company has. And he said, well, how about in a week? And I said, no, I've never made $100,000 in a week. Now watch this carefully. Watch how Bob Proctor masterfully challenged my beliefs about money. Watch this. He said, do you think it's possible to make $100,000 in a week? And I said, not really. Not at this point, Bob. We just started the company. So he says, so you're telling me it's impossible? And I said, at this particular moment, yes, I think it's impossible. I was starting to get a little bit frustrated. I said, Bob, let's be realistic. You know the numbers as well as I do. Right now, it's impossible for us to make that kind of money in a week. We just started. So get this. This is what Bob Proctor says back to me. You won't believe this. He says, so I guess it's safe to say you believe it's impossible for you to make $100,000 in a day. I said, come on, Bob, with all due respect, that's a little crazy, don't you think? And he says, doesn't matter what I think, Steve. It's only important what you think. And I said, well, I'm closing up shop for the day, Uncle Bob, but thanks for pushing me to think bigger. I'll think about what you said, I promise. But he wasn't going away that easy. He said, Steve, I want you to write down on your goal card. Bob has these cards called goal cards, and you write your goals on them. And he said, write down that you are so happy and grateful now that you've made $100,000 in a single day, and date it 1 year from today. Go ahead, write it down. I'll wait. What was I going to do? I thought it was pie in the sky nonsense, but I pulled out my card and I wrote it down. Then Bob said, I want you to read it at least once a day. I said, okay, Uncle Bob, I'll do it. Thanks again for your help. And we hung up. Next morning, I woke up fresh and ready to work, and I decided that even though it was totally delusional, I would read the card every day and tell myself how grateful and happy I was to have made $100,000 in a single day. 6 months later, the most unbelievable thing happened. I made over $100,000 in a single day, $127,000 to be exact. So I called Bob, and he said, why are you so surprised, Steve? What you experienced wasn't coincidence. It was natural law. You brought it into reality. You manifested it. That's the way the universe operates. It has no choice. 4 months later, it happened again. So I called Bob after the second time and told him, and that's when he drove the point home that taught me how to think like a millionaire. He said, Steve, 10 months ago, you told me it was impossible, yet now it's happened twice. He said, you were wrong, and it almost cost you a lot of money. Here's my question for you, Steve. What else are you wrong about? He said, I want you to start questioning every belief you've ever had and be sure you're right about every one of them, because it's very easy to be wrong. And that's what I started doing, and I'm still doing it 10 years later. Really, it literally changed my life. So what about you? What's your take on what Bob Proctor taught me? Does it sound like pie in the sky? If so, join the club. I felt the same way, but no more. It's too expensive to think like the average person thinks. Coming up after the break, I'm going to give you 10 more world-class beliefs and why it's critical that you adopt them, and I'll send you off with the same warning I give audiences around the world. See you in a moment.